think it's the caffeine. It's helping me remember. There we go. You're up and running. See if I can get this right here, I guess. Good evening. Welcome to Releasing into Presence. This is normally Chandra Euston's class, but she's on retreat this week. So she's asked Mushim, Patricia, Ikeda to come and fill in for her. Mushim is a very internationally known mindfulness and Buddhist teacher, social justice activist, author, diversity DEI consultant, and mother, importantly, based here in Oakland. She's one of the core teachers over at the East Bay Meditation Center, and apparently her vow to not burn out article went viral when it was published a number of years ago, and that got a lot of people's attention. She's been doing this kind of teaching for many, many years, and so we're very fortunate to have Mushim this evening, and so thank you. I hope you all welcome her very much to our class. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you everyone for taking part of your precious time to be here in practice and in presence. And also welcome to those of you who may be joining online. Okay, so I'm going to follow, as far as I know, the same general agenda or schedule that Chandra does. I did watch the entire YouTube video of the class from last week and made a lot of notes. And I understand that it looked as though this class was mostly practice, which is wonderful, and that there is mantra, meditation, and movement, as well as a short Dharma talk. Chandra did send me photographs of the text from the book that you've all been looking at, and chapter 3 on karma. So I will be giving a talk which is called Turn Your Karma into Dharma. And that was a motto that my original teacher, Venerable Samu Sinim, who was a Korean Zen monk, he passed some years ago, mostly living in Toronto, Canada. Then he moved down to Chicago, and I was part of the founding students of his first daughter temple in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he was fluent in English, so he knew he was, and I thought, that is the corniest thing I've ever heard. That's really dumb. And I thought that many times during my years of Dharma practice since 1981, 82, and usually a few years later, I think, wow, there's more to that than I thought. So now I'm used to seeing that judgment, and I just, of that, like, that's stupid, that's really corny, and thinking that's a thought. Because then it can, 1 year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, that seed can blossom and have profound meaning for oneself as a practitioner. So as many of you probably know, there is a very favorite bodhisattva in the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, who in English is called Bodhisattva Never Despise. And his great vow was never to despise or demean or insult anybody or condescend to anybody. I'm not there. However, Bodhisattva Never Despise evidently was, and became very skilled at always honoring and respecting the expressions of all beings. Okay, so let us start. Then Chandra, I think on the recording, spent the first half hour doing mantra practice and chanting, rather musically, and I don't play the harmonium. However, my first entrance into The Buddha Dharma was through Korean Zen in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Toronto, Canada. And the Koreans do a lot of chanting. It's a big part of their practice. So let us begin. If you would like to do so, I have one of my favorite texts here, which is sometimes called Shanti Deva's Prayer. It is a selection of verses. They're not contiguous verses. It's a selection of verses that have been put together from the great Indian Buddhist master Shantideva, who lived in the 8th century in India, and who composed what has become a total classic called the Bodhicharyavatara, or Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And this particular series of compendium of verses, to which I've added one verse that it is said to be the favorite verse from the Bodhicharyavatara of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. I've added that at the end, and this is one of my favorite texts. So what I'm going to do is we'll do it in call and response style, if that works for you. I'll read one line aloud, and then just please repeat it. I'll repeat it along with you in case you forget, but that's okay. And just see how it lands on your heart mind. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to espouse it. We're just doing this to see how it feels to you. All right, Shanti Deva's prayer. May I be a protector.
May I be a protector
To those without protection.
to those without protection,
A leader for those who journey.
a leader for those who journey,
And a boat, a bridge, a passage.
a boat, a bridge, a passage,
For those desiring the further shore.
for those desiring the further shore.
So as you know, the further shore in Mahayana Buddhism is a shore of non-suffering. It's a condition of just all this terrible suffering that we see has been healed. It's like a giant river, turbulent river, and we are on this side of the river, and we're looking at the other shore where things are they're peaceful, they're good, there aren't people bombing other people and arresting and deport. None of that's going on, and there is true kindness, there's compassion, there's wisdom. Yeah, so this is making a vow. You don't need to. We're trying it on to become a boat. That means a ferry boat to go across the water, a bridge, and a passageway for those who desire, whose hearts say, I long for peace. So let's start from the top again, and then we'll keep rolling on. May I be a protector.
May I be a protector
To those without protection.
to those without protection,
A leader to those who journey.
a leader to those who journey,
And a boat, a bridge, a passage.
and a boat, a bridge, a passage,
For those desiring the further shore.
for those desiring the further shore.
May the pain of every living creature
May the pain of every living creature
be completely cleared away.
be completely cleared away.
May I be the doctor and the medicine.
May I be the doctor and the medicine,
And may I be the nurse.
and may I be the nurse.
For all sick beings in the world.
For all sick beings in the world,
Until everyone is healed.
until everyone is healed.
Just like space
Just like space
and the great elements such as earth.
and the great elements such as earth,
May I always support the life
may I always support the life
of all the boundless creatures.
of all the boundless creatures,
And until they pass away from pain,
and until they pass away from pain,
may I also be the source of life.
may I also be the source of life.
For all the realms of varied beings
For all the realms of varied beings
that reach unto the ends of space.
that reach unto the ends of space.
And this is said to be His Holiness, the Dalai Lama has said, this is my favorite verse from the Bodhicharya. For as long as space endures,
For as long as space endures,
and for as long as living beings remain,
and as long as living beings remain,
until then may I too abide,
until then may I too abide,
to dispel the misery of the world.
to dispel the misery of the world.
Very beautiful recitation. Thank you. I'll try inviting the bell. I'm just still getting the hang of it. And let's just take a moment and let that, as one of my art professors when I was in undergraduate college said, she'd be doing certain slides that we would study, and then others she would let it just kind of rapidly go past. She would just say, relax and let it wash impressionistically over you. So we're using our hearts. Just like, how does it feel to say, may I be a protector to those without protection? How does that feel to you? And that's an open question. I'm not digging for something. It could be scary. Or maybe we ourselves were not protected. And we think, where is my protector? I don't want to be a protector. So this is completely open. It's a very ancient text. May I be a protector to those without protection. There are certain texts that we could say become our heart teachings. And I first encountered this particular selection of verses from the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life in 1996, when my father died suddenly in the night. He'd had a number of strokes. So he wasn't in great shape, but we didn't think he was in any worse shape than usual. I mean, he never went to the hospital. However, he died peacefully in his sleep in April of 1996 in Virginia, his home in Virginia. I'm his oldest child. I was with him. And afterwards, when I returned to Oakland, I went to a series of bereavement counseling sessions at a local hospice. And the counselor, who was quite wonderful, it was called Pathways Hospice, recommended the book, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sogyal Rinpoche. And I was reading through that, and it had these verses. They're translated by Stephen Batchelor, who is a noted practitioner and teacher who actually has practiced as a monk in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition and in the Korean Buddhist tradition, before returning to lay life and becoming a lay Buddhist teacher. So it's an excellent translation as well. And these words just made so much sense to me. It became my heart text. And so occasionally I do get calls from people who are dying or with those who have just died, and to please come and I always bring this text with me. I have it memorized. So it's very, very close to me. And I would just invite you to, if you're not familiar with it, just give it a try. Even one verse of it. For instance, as Sam mentioned in introduction, I am a mother. I have an only child who's in his mid-30s now. And thus, for me, that passage, just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. It's the next one. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. So may I be the source of life. I'm emphasizing that, and again, inviting you to release into presence, as the name of this class series invites us to do. Just release into pure presence. How might it feel to say, may I also be the source of life for all the living beings, for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space, not just beings on planet Earth, all living beings. May I become the source of life. Okay, beautiful practice. Thank you very much. Well, I'm going to now invite you to do a little bit of mantra or chanting from my original lineage. Once again, Korean Buddhism, Korean Zen Buddhism. In Korea, Zen, which is a Japanese word, it comes from Chan in China, which is the mothership of the tradition. And then it went into diaspora, the Chan tradition, into Korea, into Japan as Zen, and in Korea it's called Son. So Son Buddhism. However, most people say Zen because most people who are English speaking recognize it more. So this is a mantra that was taught to us in my original Sangha by, again, the Korean monk Venerable Samu Sinim. I think he probably made it up for his Western students because there's magnificent Korean chanting, which is a lot more involved. You can hear some of it on YouTube. I do recommend it. It is gorgeous. And this is a very simple mantra. So if you look up at the board, it's written here, and I'm going to invite you. The way I learned chanting was try to just become like a little child. Relax. If you've been with children, when we learn how to speak, before we speak words, we babble. We make sounds. Ma, 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 ba, 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 ba. My kid, for some reason, said ba, 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 endlessly, which is interesting because the word for rice in Korean is, in fact, ba. And with probably a different spelling, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha is bu, bup, sung. So bup is also Dharma. I don't know why. That was his mantra. It drove me crazy. So, but anyway, we just open our mouths and we just make sounds. And these sounds are very primal sounds. You'll hear babies when they start to vocalize say them. So we just open our mouths, and I'm going to invite you to say ma. Yeah, just feel that resonance. Ma. Ma. And then we're going to close our mouths and say Most of you are familiar with om, right? That's supposed to be like a seed syllable. It's the om, the primal om. So this is kind of like it, So let's say that again. Ma, ma, And we're going to join it together and say ma, 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 And this means heart, mind. It's kind of divided up there, but it's actually one word. It would be translated as sometimes heart, as sometimes heart mind. It is used in secular Korean. You can find it if you Google it. And one source said this has a very, it's a very warm, like a warm-hearted feeling. And I put it up there in very bad Hangul or Korean phonetic script because my Hangul is not good, but that's kind of what it looks like. So Ma'um. In Buddhism, as you know, especially in the Mahayana, it is considered that body, mind, there are not two things. It's always mind, body, body, mind. It's non-dual. And I explain we're a very thinky society. So now somatics are really big. Oh, somatic, and the word embodied drives me crazy. However, Bodhisattva never despise. Take a breath. And the reason it annoys me so much is because for those of us who practice yoga, who do anything where it requires some physicality and body awareness, we know that there is very little that could be said that is not body, mind, mind, body. The way I teach it, I always say, just try and do something when you feel physically in shape and you've been well rested and you've had good food to eat and you need to do something. And then try to do it when you have a terrible headache and you're really sick with the flu or you're malnutritioned. Totally different thing. That task, whatever it is, will be an entirely different experience. Even if it's the same thing, like washing the dishes or whatever it might be. Entirely different experience. Why? Because we're not a body and we're not a mind. We're body, mind, mind, body. Our heart is, there's a physical heart, and then for many cultures, this is considered to be sort of the seat of emotion and warm kindness and warm-heartedness. And my yoga teacher says, place your hands on your yoga heart. So that means right in the center of your chest. We know the physical heart a little bit to the left, yoga heart and heart, but pretty contiguous. So Ma'um. And for this mantra, what I'll do is I will sing it a little bit, and then you're welcome to just join in as you like. Really, the important thing is open your mouth, close your mouth, and make some sounds that feel good to you. Okay? And my teacher also said, Samusinim also said, the meaning of this for us as Buddhists is Ma'um, my mind is Buddha mind. My mind is pure presence. So let's release into that presence. Ma'um, Ma'um, Ma'um. Ma'um, Ma'um, Ma'um. Ma'um, Ma'um, Ma'um. Ma'um, Ma'um, Ma'um. You can join it at any time. Ma'um, Ma'um, Ma'um. 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 Maum, Maum, Maum. 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 And now we're going to take it just a little bit faster and then go back to the slow, and then we'll finish out with that. Okay, so we're just going to pick it up a little bit. Maum, Maum, Maum. 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 Maum, Maum. So just taking a moment and perhaps repeating ourselves, trying on the statement of faith. My mind is Buddha mind. My mind is Buddha mind. Very beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so going on with Chandra's usual way, I think of doing things, at least on the video. Oh, also on the internet, it said that Ma'um is a friendship app. It's not for dating, it's for friendship. So if you sign up for the app, they match you with someone that you can do audio chatting with in your own language. I guess it's international. So I thought that was interesting. There's the Ma'um app. All right, so we'll have a few minutes of mindful movement now. And I'm going to introduce to you my Dharma friend, Sean Chow. Thank you for coming. Sean is off camera and wishes to be, so he's sitting on the floor right in front of the dais. And he is going to share with us some movements of Tibetan yoga. I practice like hatha yoga. So I had never known there was such a thing as Tibetan yoga. And sometimes we practice it together. So I'll turn it over to Sean. So, 8-10 minutes, whatever you'd like to
I
do.
think we do 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you on the Zoom, I am going to go along with Sean and you can follow my movements.
Would it be helpful if I sat this way for you?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay. My name is Sean. So first I will say I am not authorized to teach this, but I am part of Gyuto Monastery Foundation, Gyuto Foundation in Richmond, California. If you are not familiar with Gyuto, it's a beautiful, beautiful place in the Richmond Hills. It's a Dharma center / Tibetan community center. They have secular meditation classes on Monday, Way of the Bodhisattva classes on Thursday, and then the Great Treatise on the Path to Enlightenment on Sunday mornings. So if you haven't been, I encourage you all to go. I'm there pretty much every day. So happy to, we can do a kora around the prayer wheels, and I can show you around and introduce you to the monks who are there. So yeah, I will say, not authorized, but I did learn this there. I'm a student volunteer there from Geshe Kunchok, a very seasoned Tibetan teacher. And so basically what he taught us was a Salung practice, which is channel and lung wind, if you're familiar with chi or prana, kind of the inner system energy within our bodies. And so the way they described it was the 5 basic moving winds exercises. Is anyone familiar with this? Just as a great, perfect. Oh, great. Okay. So basically, we'll start with there's 5 basic movements, and so for each movement, we'll do 3 sets of each, and on each movement, we'll retain the breath. Holding that breath in a particular part of our body to open up a particular chakra. And then we'll hold the breath until the movement is over, and then we'll release the breath. And upon releasing the breath, they say to think, have on your mind thoughts of emptiness or shunyata.
What if people can't hold their breath?
Just stop breathing. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah. So again, as with all
Just
movement,
breathe. Just breathe.
be at ease. Don't force yourself to do anything that will harm yourself.
Yes, just if you can't hold the breath for the entirety of the movement, just breathe as normal. Don't stress about not holding your breath. Okay, so the first movement is going to be the upward moving wind. So we're going to hold the breath at our throat. Yeah, and it's a very simple movement. We're going to do 3 neck rolls to the left and 3 neck rolls to the right under one breath. And the way they teach it is you can have your hands kind of at your inner thighs here. And you're kind of pushing down. There's a particular nerve there that you're pushing down. You can either do it, kind of form your hands into fists like this, and also do this and push down. So I've seen it done both ways. Yeah. Like this, and then this one. Yeah. Either way. Okay, so when I say ready, we'll hold our breath, and then we'll do the movements. Okay, we'll do 3 sets of each. So this is the upward moving wind exercise. Ready? Deep breath. And the other side. And then exhale.
Where do you have your lavalier pin?
I don't know.
I think it's going against the beads. Or
It's mostly
that
because you're
or
rotating
something.
your head. Once you
That's
stop
okay.
doing
Maybe
that.
It's kind of crackly.
Shall I turn it off for this one?
Don't. People
Okay.
need to hear you.
All
We'll-
right.
We'll do it. We'll put
All
it.
right.
Okay.
All right. How did that feel for folks? Okay. All right. So we'll do 2 more of that movement. Ready? Deep breath. Okay. And the third one. Ready? Deep breath. Okay. The second movement is life-sustaining wind. So we're going to hold the breath at our heart. And the movement is fairly, there's 2 parts to the movement. It's we're going to have our fist out like this. Just kind of wrap around like this. And we're going to do it 3 times. And then we'll do the left side. Yep. And then we'll do 3 shoulder rolls backwards. Yeah, 3. And then 3 to the left. Yeah? Okay, and we'll hold the breath at the heart. Okay, ready? How'd that feel? Okay. All right, so we'll do 2 more of that movement. Ready? And then last one, deep breath. Okay, third movement is the balanced wind. So we're going to hold the breath at the navel. And we're going to do, let's say 5 kind of belly rolls clockwise, 5 this way. and then 5 counterclockwise. Ready? All right, deep breath. Okay, and again, deep breath. And last one, deep breath. Okay, this next one, the fourth movement, this Mushim's favorite, the all-pervasive wind. Yeah. So we're gonna take a deep breath, and we're gonna hold the breath across our entire bodies. Just imagine all of our pores, just holding the breath there. We're going to clap. Try to get the back, stomach, whatever, everything. And that's the movement under one breath. Ready? We could do that, but we'll just do that for now. Ready? Deep breath. We'll just do that. Huh? Yeah. We'll keep it simple. The movement. All right, one more or two more. All right, ready? Deep breath. And last one, deep breath. So I will say we usually do 3 sets under one breath, but we just kept it simple for that one. Okay, last one is the downward clearing wind. You're going to hold the breath at the pelvic floor. It's going to be similar to the other kind of belly roll movement, but you're going to have your hands around your knee, your right knee, and you're going to do, let's do five clockwise belly rolls, and then we're going to move to the left 5 times counterclockwise. And then we'll do both legs clockwise 5 times. Ready? Okay. Okay, deep breath. Next one, ready? Deep breath. And last one, deep breath. And that's it. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you very much. Once again, we're sharing, we're not teaching. And some of you may have received teaching in Tibetan yoga. There are YouTube videos, and I have made friends on Facebook with a Tibetan yoga teacher named Dr. Ale Chaul, I believe, who will be teaching in San Francisco at the end of July. I think I'm going to be out of town at a conference, but if I'm around, I will try to go to his workshop. And he has a website. I think it's ALE, the last name CHAOUL, something like that. Seems like a very, very nice person. So let's just take a moment, and we're now going to go on to the meditation portion of the more stationary meditation portion. Hopefully everything's meditation. So if you would like, stand up and stretch a little bit or move around, and just get yourself in order to do whatever you need to do. Yeah, I'm seeing some upward stretching, side to side. Very nice. Yeah. We're practicing awareness of the body mind. What effect do these movements have? I'm bringing more ease. Yeah, more ease to the body. And since we seem all to be able to stand up, not everyone can. However, it could be adapted to be seated upright or lying down if people have a disability, chronic illness, chronic pain. Since we all are able to stand, I'm going to invite us to just take what in yoga, as you know, is called Tadasana, the mountain pose. So that we're just placing your feet about hips width apart, whatever is comfortable for you. Relax the shoulders, relax. I see one person rotating their hands palms outward. You can do that, or you can leave them down by your sides, whatever's comfortable for you. And take a moment and feel your entire body rooted in the earth. That contact between the soles of the feet and the floor. Beneath that is Mother Earth. If you have numbness in your feet, as some people do, that's okay. We're just noticing that. So feel our weight, feel contact, rooted. The mountain is rooted. And then from that base in the earth, the mountain rises up. Feel the upward quality of your body. Your feet are rooted into the earth. The crown of the head is stretching upward toward the heavens. And we can also feel the space to our left, to our right, the expression on our faces. Relax, breathe. There's a Thich Nhat Hanh meditation song that says, I am solid as the mountain. I am firm as the earth. And it goes on to say, I'm water reflecting what is real, what is new. I am free. Try to release into presence, as Chandra says, release into presence. It is in this very body mind, whatever condition we're in. It is within this very body mind that we awaken. And when you're ready, mindfully, with full awareness, take your seat or whatever position you'd like to now do some stationary meditation in. So this is mindfulness meditation. Which can be done sitting, standing, walking, and lying down, the 4 positions of the human body. In this case, we're seated on meditation cushions on the floor or on chairs. And again, feel your mountainness, your tadasana-ness. Don't hesitate to shift and move. What my yoga teacher calls micro adjustments to bring more ease and balance and rootedness to the body. And find the posture that works best for you for the next few minutes. The eyes may be gently closed or kept open a bit to let in natural light. And as Chandra said last week, and in my own training, the teachers always said this as well. We're going in the direction of being both relaxed and alert. Both relaxed and alert. That's where we're aiming to go. If you like, you can take a few deep breaths and then allow the breath to be natural. It may be long, medium, or short, rough or smooth, slow or fast. Allow it to be as is natural for you in this moment. The first establishment or foundation of mindfulness is physical sensations. However it works best for you, just lightly notice and observe. Tingling, coolness, warmth. Heaviness, lightness, contraction, expansion, contact, pressure. And see what you can notice. And as we settle in, we might become aware specifically of physical sensations of breathing in and breathing out in a natural manner. If awareness of the breath causes you any kind of emotional or psychological distress, you don't need to do it. You can simply notice other physical sensations. If it works for you, you might notice, where do you feel it in your body as you breathe in? What do you feel and where in your body as you breathe out? If we're alive, we're always breathing. Therefore, if awareness of the breath works for us, it's what's called an anchor. We can always return to awareness of breathing in. What do I notice? Breathing out. What do I notice? Often it's a cooling sensation in the nose as we breathe in. If we're breathing through the nose, breathing out, that air has been warmed by our body. Usually a different sensation, not coolness. However, see what it's like for you. Breathing in, the abdomen, the tummy area, and chest gently expand, rising. Breathing out, exhalation, a gentle fall. Kind of like an ocean wave on a calm day, gently rising and falling. Awareness of physical sensations. Some meditation teachers say, if the mind wanders, go back to your anchor, noticing your anchor points. The breath, perhaps the contact and pressure sensations between parts of your body that are pressing against the surface below, that are holding up your weight. However, I do not say if the mind wanders. If we say mind is heart mind, ma-om, heart mind. Universal mind, big mind. There is no place for it to wander. And we can be precise. In my point of view, the mind does not wander. What happens is that thoughts rise up. And that is natural. Our brain produces thoughts. We're human beings. We might also feel emotions. Of course. Our practice for this moment is simply noticing thoughts arise and pass away. Grief, joy, boredom, happiness, anger. They arise, they occupy some space, and then they dissolve. So our job is to watch it. Watch and observe. Are you practicing full awareness? If you're aware of the sensations of the breath, are you aware of the exact moment when the in-breath begins, the duration of the in-breath? There is a moment when that inhalation ends, that exquisite moment. And then it changes and the exhalation begins. There's a duration of the exhalation There's the end of the exhalation. Whatever sorrows you have and suffering, if you are aware you are breathing, you know you are alive. And we, your community, are here for you. In the last few minutes of this period of formal meditation, I invite you to take a moment and consider what has changed for you since you woke up today. This is an exercise, it's not a test. So, anything that has changed for you. also to consider, we know that as human beings, as living organisms, we're constantly, if we have hair, we're shedding cells. This body, which may feel so solid, in fact, constantly changing, renewing itself. The functions we call living and dying are happening over and over and over, even as we sit here. What happened to the first thought you had when you woke up today? Arising and passing away. Arising and passing away. In the Dhammapada, one of the earliest texts of Buddhism, one of the translations of one of the verses says, everything arises and passes away. But the awakened awake forever. And I'll invite the bell of mindfulness 3 times. I won't say to end this period of meditation because we're actually just shifting. We're shifting from whatever form of meditation we've been doing in a more stationary or still posture. And then we're going into hearing meditation, listening to the Dharma meditation. Wonderful. Thank you for your practice. So we have just a few minutes for a small Dharma talk on turn your karma into Dharma. And it actually does have a subtitle, but I'll introduce that later on. Could we have some light in the room, if possible? I also brought a visual aid. So while we're getting the lights, I'm going to bring out this visual aid. I'm going to tell you the story of how I connected to Chandra Easton, the teacher of this class. So this is a chicken. It was given to me by one of my students, and it represents my demon. So in this school, as I understand it, there's a practice called feeding your demons, FYD trademark. And the way that I met Chandra was because in 2023, I guess, I'm going to clutch my chicken, 2023, it's stuffed with lavender. This is called a warmie. It's so perverse. It just unnerves me, so I can't do this. I did it once, but you can put it in the microwave and heat it up, and then you can use it as like a warm pack. and you can put it in the freezer, and then you can use it as a cold pack. But I don't think this chicken wants me to do that. Okay. No, exactly. It sounds more like a duck, which was another demon. But anyway, so I was invited by Tara Mandala Center in Colorado to teach a class series, which after I discussed with the person who contacted me, was a class series called The Problem with Impermanence. The Problem with Impermanence. Everything arises and passes away. And if it's something that we don't like we're listening to this really super boring talk, we're so glad when that thing passes away, right? Thank you, I can go have a cup of tea now. If what arises and passes away is something that we treasure, we're attached to, we don't want to end, then we suffer to a greater or lesser extent. And of course, with beloved companions, people who are close to us, animal companions, our homes, our jobs, parts of our body, of course, we grieve, and that's difficult for us. So everything arises and passes away. So I was pointing out that some forms of impermanence we like, many we ignore. Some are pleasant, some are neutral, and the problems are with the forms of impermanence that we don't like, that we kick and scream, and why me, why does this happen to me, that I lose this and I lose that. And our practice offers us, I think, a great deal of healing in that regard over time. So the person I was talking to at Tara Mandala said, well, before you teach in 2024, why don't you get to know some of the way we do things, and you can choose one of our classes or programs, and you can take it for free. We'll waive the fee for you. And I thought, oh, cool. So I looked on the website of Tara Mandala, and there was a weekend, half day Saturday, half day Sunday morning retreat online with someone named Chandra that perfectly fit my schedule. And it didn't say anything about feeding your demons. I didn't know anything about that. And it was on something or other. I can't remember. But anyway, it was all good. And in the Tibetan Buddhist lineage, which again, that's not what I was trained in. So I like to learn new things. And I went online, and it was great. Chandra, as we know, she's so clear, she's so warm. She had her camera set up very nicely. The people in the class were nice. It was really great. And then she did 2 sessions. She pulled it on us, and I guess some people that were expecting it, she slipped in some feeding your demons visualization exercises. Now, my training is in the arts. I have a Master of Fine Arts in poetry writing, and poetry, as we know, works through images. So if you ask me to visualize something, usually I am right there. And again, my basic grid is that of an artist. So yes, it can be quite generative. So anyway, so she said that she's done feeding your demons work with a lot of you here. I had no idea of what to expect. And she did the thing, and she said, now visualize invite in your demon du jour, your demon, and it's, I think she said it's sitting like about 3 feet away from you. And you know what? I was really looking forward, because this was Tibetan Buddhism, and I've seen the Tibetan Buddhist images. I was really looking forward to seeing this like really sexy, gross, drooling, fanged creature making faces with all of these weird instruments and sort of a tantric posture and things like that. That's what I expected. I was sitting on my futon bed in my room, looking at the Zoom on the screen. So I'm visualizing my demon, and to my utter humiliation, what appeared was a 5.5 foot tall chicken. It was a huge white chicken sitting 3 feet away from me on my bed. Like, this is kind of cute, but this is a mere simulacrum. It was a really big chicken. And they're not mammals. They're more like dinosaurs or reptiles. They have very different kinds of brains than we do. And so it was just sitting there looking at me with its beady eyes. And then we had to, you get to ask it questions, like, what do you want? Things like that. And I think one of the questions was what's your name? And I said, I said, what's your name? And this damn chicken said, my name is Bodhi Chitkin. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It was really dumb. Just as the way I thought my original teacher when he said, turn your karma into dharma. I thought that's just stupid and cheesy. However, it is not. That transformation, that release into presence we're talking about, is transformation. Letting go of small maum, the tiny contracted heart mind, and releasing into big mind, vast mind, sky-like mind, ocean-like heart, whatever we want to call it. So anyway, this is very large, kind of mean-looking chicken, and it said it was cold too. It had no human warmth because it wasn't a mammal, and so it said, "Yeah, Bodhi Chitkin." And I said, "You've got to be kidding!" And so most of you know bodhicitta. Cultivating bodhicitta is the basis of the path of the bodhisattva. My vows are, in fact, bodhisattva vows. When I received the name Mushim in 1983 in Toronto, Canada, I also received the bodhisattva vows and precepts. So my practice is to cultivate bodhicitta, but not bodhichitkin. No bodhicitta. So anyway, this was really not hot. And I just disliked the whole experience. And I said, what do you want? What do you want, big chicken? And it just kept staring at me. I don't think it even blinked. It just kept staring, and it said, times are tough. And I know that you are chickening out. You're chickening out on fulfilling your bodhisattva vows. And so I'm here to tell you, you cannot do that. That's not an option. You have to fulfill your bodhisattva vows, which is that we know are to return lifetime after lifetime after lifetime until all suffering, everyone has been delivered to the other shore. And your arms are really tired from rowing that boat across that huge roaring river to the other shore. And then you have to immediately come back and start all over again. It's very horrible vows, very, very horrible vows. And Bodhicitta said, yeah, I'm going to be around to enforce, to make sure you don't back out. You can't stop, you can't regress, and you just can't stay in place. And I looked at it and I said, you're just a chicken. What can you do to me? And it just looked at me and I thought, yeah, but it's really big. And I read that they are related to dinosaurs. Yeah, right?
They are what's left of the dinosaurs.
Sam said they're what's left of the dinosaurs. You are what's left of the dinosaur. Okay, so we're going to just put Bodhicitta in here. And afterwards, I connected with Chandra because I found out that she lives in the East Bay, and we got together for lunch, and she gave me a copy of her book, which I have here. And it's, of course, inscribed to Bodhicitta. So he has a autographed book by Chandra on the Taras. So in closing, I'll say that transforming our karma, the results of our actions, the causes and conditions, into dharma, into wisdom and compassion. Turning our dukkha, our dissatisfaction, our suffering, into sukha. Sukha means happiness. So we turn our karma into dharma, we turn our dukkha into sukha. They're both what I do consider to be releasing into presence, releasing into reality, relaxing into things as they are from the big picture perspective. Have you experienced moments of this? Sometimes in the Dharma it's called one taste. And there is a quotation from one of the suttas or sutras which says, just as oceans have one taste, the taste of salt, so this Dharma has one taste, the taste of liberation. The Bodhisattva vow and cultivating bodhicitta is simultaneously very motivated. So may I be a protector, a boat, a bridge, a passage. It's very motivated. And at the same time, it requires us to give up striving and compulsively trying to control things. So for me, it's a strange dance. It's a dynamic movement. It's not just becoming flaccid and saying, oh, well, things are arising and passing away, whatever. It's very, very motivated. Ram Dass, who was one of the kind of spiritual gurus in the United States some years ago, who did go and did some pretty serious practice in India. I think it was Ram Dass who said that his teacher in India said, your practice is to show up wherever you are and say, how can I help? So we don't need to think in terms of, oh, it's this bodhisattva vow and it's this alien thing and I have to save all beings because how could I do that anyway? Let's simplify it radically and understand it as setting our heart minds and raising up the intention wherever we are in every waking moment to be in full presence as much as we can with whatever living beings we are with. If we feel it's ourself, hey, that's a good being to be in presence with. And whether we know it or not, there are other life forms around us, probably in this room at this moment, to show up for all of life and to ask this simple question, how can I help? Well, thank you very, very much. And we'll end our time together temporarily. What I always say to my students at East Bay Meditation Center is I invite you to say goodbye until we meet again. It is considered, as you probably know, in the Buddha Dharma, these teachings that we call Buddhism, that we have our paths have crossed in lifetime after lifetime. And so it's through incredibly good fortune that we are here together to do this practice, to do these studies, and to be with one another. Therefore, it is my faith as a practitioner of the Buddha Dharma to say that I don't know where and I don't know when. However, I am very certain that we shall meet again. Thank you so much. And my understanding is, again, from watching the video of last week's class, that Chandra said you're invited to, there's tea, to have some tea, to be in Sangha together. And I'll be here for a few more minutes if you have questions for me or would simply like to introduce yourselves so that we can get to know each other better. Thank you.
Indeed, you're all invited to stay, have some tea. If you need a hand with putting the cushions back up, you can see how they're set up. It's a big help. It's a big help. Do we leave the chairs? No, we push the arch chair back against the wall. Just up against the wall.
The color sorted.
It's a
I'm too short.
it's a challenge.
It's so nice though that it's like green
Yeah.
tile, purple tile.
Our mistress of space, as opposed to our mistress of time, really likes the place getting neat. She's got that kind of eye for that. So she goes to great lengths to make this place pretty nice.
I like it, you know, it kind of keeps your mind in it.
It does, exactly. I find neatness keeps me calm, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, I ate chickens many years ago, and I found them to be surprisingly affectionate creatures.
People love their chicken. Yeah, they
And
accept.
my chicken one would run up to me in the morning when I would bring out.
Really? So they recognize you?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Maybe those dinosaurs had more emotional intelligence going on than we do.
Yeah, we have no real idea.
How do you decide?
We don't ever say.
But basically, birds are what's left over of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, earlier, yeah.
Everything bigger than a couple of towns got wiped out,
Right, yeah.
and they're the ones who survived.
It's very nice.
They had feathers. Yeah, it's a real question. Like, there looks like the dinosaurs may have had feathers.
Yes,
Yes. Cheers.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I mean, this stays.
Yeah, and thanks for your offering too. That's chocolate. That you were doing?
What else do we need to pack up here?
If we can get the board back into Mercury.
Back into where?
Mercury.
Nurturing?
Mercury.
Mercury.
This room.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
All
okay.
right, this is Sol, the other one's Luna, that one's Mercury. I didn't name it, but I can't complain.
It's changing.
He did it, he really did it.
No, it's solid. I didn't do the full same list. I'm making some extra movements, and I was like,
This
Yeah.
is what is this supposed to be like a
trying to part of one of the
Yeah,
movements.
after you've done the full body, we do it slightly different. So we do that. But you tilt the whole body, contract like you're sort of pull up on the perineum.
Yeah.
And then you put the hands together, rub your hand down because the flux of your energy is kind of floating around. I actually find it like it makes me vaguely itchy. So the rubbing down actually all stops that. And then you draw 5 and 5 the other way.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Because,
all the same
yoga,
breath.
of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you're
Right,
Okay.
right. That gives you
What day,
a
what day do
a
you
pretty
suggest
good
coming?
stretch
Oh, yeah.
across.
Drawing that full, all the strength in here on there, and then fire.
Yeah, that's good.
We also do a qigong thing, which is basically the same thing, but in the morning.
Uh-huh. Wow, it's really good. You can just feel that. Yeah.
So if you want to come to the class.
I was saying that it's so efficient because you're seated and you're not floundering around a lot, but it just works out so much of the whole body.
Think of where they are, the small cave rat, is like, they
Yeah.
can't really move. One
Right.
of the things I understand about their entire ritual stuff is they can't get up and move around because they're not again when they have the dance. So they do everything in here.
Yeah.
In a box.
Right.
Somebody seating box.
I didn't know that you
Yeah.
could have like, wait, here, and I was like,
Look at you.
and I was like,
So, you know,
Oh,
100,000 we get one of these things.
yeah.
10,000 views, I just did 20,000.
Yeah, no, we're just-
I want to hit the silver mantra, and that's like the
I get it.
every day. Whatever they go. So it will take me a while. So 2 more months before I get to even
That's
10,000.
what we all do.
That's really pretty good, though.
Yeah.
He's always getting checked on the places.
I'm off to
The place up in Luma.
Costa Rica.
Oh,
So
yeah. So-
I'm having interesting.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah. You're having interesting effects.
Yes, yes. I'm like the main
okay.
figure who we're supposed to be doing
I
refuge
have
to.
to run.
Literally, like, I pulled out of the way and then a female figure replaced them. But you see, in my world, I can't be a Buddhist
Yeah.
because of the position of
It's every
Buddhism.
Sunday, right?
Okay.
I'm a witch. From the Western tradition, women are our leaders. They are the embodiment of the sacred.
Yeah.
So any denigration of them makes that tradition difficult to me.
but he's gonna
Well,
be doing
I
translation.
hear you.
I think you might appreciate what
Yes,
I
yes,
that.
yeah.
So
I was
Just so
around at a
much out
certain
that
point,
there's no
believe
class this
me,
Sunday.
This
I-
Sunday.
people would say
So I
such
should
things in
check
Korean,
out
and
the-
But there's a
you know,
Thursday
I'm
class
American,
Sunday,
and
Saturday, and then the following Sunday should be back.
And
Okay.
women who just want my teachers on the like.
The translator
just come food for me.
Oh,
But there is a schedule online.
okay, yeah. We'll look at it.
No, you got a boy here. That's not gonna work. Here's a girl. Okay.
bye, give a hug.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
All right.
coming.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
What's your name?
I'm Sam.
Sam.
I'm always gonna think of you as a Jessica.
Oh.
Sorry.
I mean, now it's
That's
scary in
scary.
my mind now.
Just call me Sid.
Does everyone look okay, yeah?
Oh, the room's fine.
Okay.
Oh, you turn off the screen.
Are we still live?